afterwards, when you get done here, I thought maybe we could have a little you and me time. Yeah, there's this little restaurant down by the river. It's nothing fancy, but...
Sounds like a plan, Professor.
Yeah, I sure hope so.
Phase 9, The Ruined Heart. From the Journal of Dr. Henry West, Arkham, 1756.
Was it only 4 years ago that I first stepped ashore at Boston Harbor, with my beloved bride, Lenora, at my side?
She is dead now,
Taken by cholera.
the surgeon's hands saved hundreds in the outbreak that swept through the colonies. Yet I failed to prevent the death of my own wife. Tonight, God willing, I will join her. I leave my estate to the people of Arkham. This mansion has become a house of horror. In time, may it become known as a place of healing and stand as a memorial to her beauty and grace. L'amour triomphe de l'amour.
Love conquers death. So says our host now that we've returned to the West Manor. Throughout this stage, he's going to be reading several excerpts from his journal. Even then, it's just going to be the tip of the iceberg. We can unlock the entire journal by achieving 100% completion in the game. And if for whatever reason you don't want to do that for yourself, I'll be including them as bonus videos as well. And while the Doctor may be getting more sharing and likable, his mansion most certainly is not. We are going to be facing multiple groups of mini-boss type enemies throughout the stage, and these are not fights to be underestimated. They're going to teach us the true meaning of splatter kills. Turns out it's incredibly difficult to whittle down the enemy's last couple of hits before they regenerate, while there's another one right in your face. That is not the true meaning of splatter kills. I failed that one. Never matter though, he's on his own at this point, which makes him harmless. And entering the wrestling ring next is the upgraded Abhor, the Demon Abhor. But as I just said, he's alone, and therefore not terribly much of a threat. It does a little bit more damage, has considerably more health, but on its own, it really doesn't amount to much.
Oh, nasty!
More of a damage sponge than the previous version. No new moves, though.
It seems the good Lord is not yet ready to forgive my sins. For as I lay at the threshold to the eternal abyss, an angel spoke to me. His message: she doesn't have to die. I returned from that dark place with knowledge of a means by which to arrest time's advances upon the flesh, and the promise that, God willing, science might one day restore Lenora to life.
I think I know that angel. Though I don't know who the hell that is. Oh, moving on to more horrifyingly corrupted but familiar territory. Another unavoidable attack that does no damage and provides us with a weapon.
Handy. Let's do some fucking carpentry.
It's a good thing we got that weapon, because we're gonna need it. It's 3 demon terratoids in a very small room. one is rather likely to die here, much as they were the first time they came to this room.
Fun stuff. I could say I wasn't really enjoying it.
I'm more bothered than I probably should be about the inconsistencies between subtitle and actual speech in that little splatter kill there, but not a big deal. As you can see, splatter kills become more than mere convenience in these sorts of fights. They eliminate a serious threat and often provide a weapon, which will really help turn the tides of battle.
My rational mind tells me it was a delusion, born of the laudanum I took. Nothing more. And yet, the apparition had spoken the truth. She lies perfectly preserved now, serene as if sleeping like some princess in a grim tale. She shall sleep enough for the both of us. I must go to work.
No time for work yet, you gotta tell us another story.
From the Journal of Dr. Henry West. For every year I've spent in West Mansion, I've spent several more traveling the world in search of knowledge. I don't worry at leaving my home unoccupied for so long. The things that roam its grounds and lie in wait within its walls will deter any unwelcome guests.
That's clearly not always true. Ah, and here's the first room we ever found a piece of Jen's picture. Let's scan it for secrets. Woohoo! Just what we needed, a shotgun. Wow, boy is it ever a good thing we found that shotgun. Facing a beast in such small quarters would be suicide without it. There we go, that's a much more humane elimination of those poor guys. And the return of the giant worm. I've killed them so quickly in the past that I don't really know how to dodge their moves anymore. Yeah, this one's taking me apart. Fortunately, that QT is very easy and opens it up to attack. I was hoping to finish it off without using another splatter slash, but as long as I don't get hit again, I'll be fine. I think you know the problem. Well, let's just try that again. Cut straight back to it. This time, not taking any chances. 2 slashes. And it's gone. The mysteries of the worm.
From the Journal of Dr. Henry West, Georgia, 1864. Almost a century has passed since I began my search. I've seen wars, famine, empires rise and fall, and so much suffering. Now at last, my journey is over. At last, I have the means to restore my beloved to life.
I don't think we'd have a game if that were an accurate statement. And the mouth has evolved as well. I saved a couple of shotgun shells because I knew this was coming up. Obviously, we can't feed the mouth teratoids. So I just want to take these guys out quickly and cleanly. Unfortunately, this one's become fucking bulletproof. I don't know what happened there. There's plenty of other options, though. We haven't seen these guys for a while. Last time we just cut them straight in half, so we didn't see their gimmick. We which is you can't punch them, you can't grab them. All you can do is charged heavy attacks. Let the shockwave hit them. Obviously, that's not very convenient. So splatter moves and weaponry are a far better choice. Because we can't grab them, we also can't throw them into the gaping maw, which means they are useless. Need to be eliminated before we can move on. I've also got a very limited moveset because they don't really need to attack. All they can really do is the typical zombie charge move. Other than that, they just lumber around, waiting for you to hit yourself on them. Kill enough of them, and we get some ghasts. And they finally serve as the fodder we need.
Get in there, you bastard!
At this point, it's pretty simple. Thought that was the last one, but I need to defeat him. I was unfortunately incorrect. I think I accidentally bumped one of the radioactive zombies there. That's why I dropped the ghast. And the screaming gives way to one of the better musical cues in the game. I quite enjoy this track. It makes good accompaniment for the final audio log.
From the Journal of Dr. Henry West. The Masters put my scientific knowledge to good use. In my labs, beneath the mansion, I create new forms of servant creatures for them, splicing together abominations and monstrosities. I build their armies for them, and they are grateful.
That would be almost wistful to be done with the gramophone if it hadn't already outlived its usefulness. Been replaced by the journal. And where the fuck is this? How did the mansion even have a room this big in the first place to get so horrifyingly corrupted? It's a good thing this mouth bridge doesn't want to eat us. It does, however, want to impede us until we kill all these radioactive zombies, which is what the chainsaw's been provided for. Here's an annoying thing about those radioactive zombies. If they bump you while you're holding the chainsaw, and therefore have limited mobility, their slow advance forward will keep you stun-locked until they decide to do the charge attack on you and automatically grab you, thereby knocking the chainsaw out of your hand and wasting a good half minute of your time. It's yet another of the sheerly obnoxious enemy types in this game. We won't have too much exposure to them, but it's just fortunate most of the time we're going to have a chainsaw when we see them. They do thankfully become inert once they've been killed in any way, so we don't have to worry about their corpses hitting us while they're crawling around. Usually when you shake free of that QTE, it automatically hits you at the end of it. So no matter what, once you get grabbed, you're taking damage. And the eyeball does not want to see those radioactive guys, and I can't blame it, so we're going to have to clear them out before it'll pop open. We're down to the final one. And this is how you have to fight them if you were, say, unarmed or without necro gauge. Five or six charged moves. A waste of time. I obviously won't be doing that again. One splatter smash leaves the eye in desperate need of Visine, which it will not be getting. And I saved some chainsaw, because we will be needing it in the next room. Might also be needing a couple of upgrades. Getting the tackle pack. It allows me to intentionally do that tackle move that I've done on accident a few times. The powered head throw. Much more damage from thrown heads. That's going to be useful. And the meat shot. Drastically increased damage from thrown enemies. These couple of moves are going to allow us to completely change our playstyle, as we'll be seeing when we come to an appropriate situation for the use of those moves. For now, though, don't think, guys. And next up is the reason I brought the chainsaw. Another group of radioactive zombies. Once again, got stun locked by him. I didn't want to, but I got so annoyed I had to use a splatter smash on him. Which is problematic, because now we have a pair of demon abhors. While a single abhor is hardly any more dangerous than its basic counterpart, a pair of demon abhors is a nightmare. Really need as much necro ammo as I can spare. Now that we've got one beheaded, though, we can use that head to test out our new power throw. Instant kill. Pretty awesome. Does about half its health bar and damage now. What's gonna open up? How are we gonna move to the next room? Of course, it's the sphincter in the middle of the room. And we'll get a piece of Jennifer's picture, which you probably noticed on the floor there. Having gathered that, we will be moving on to a retro section where the doctor will tell us a tragic tale to tug at our heartstrings.
Disaster! I am a fool! Lenora has returned, a ghoulish, screeching, drooling thing. Watches without seeing, through blind eyes older than time. I keep her restrained for her own benefit. In rare moments, she is herself again, and begs that I set her free. It is a ruse, as I have already learned to my cost. Yet these fleeting instances give me cause for hope. We're close, my love, so close. I must go. She is hungry.
Keep an eye on the distant background in this upcoming section for another one of those clawface enemies that we saw dead in the meat factory.
Lenora slipped her chains once more last night. I found her at dawn, on the outskirts of Arkham. Her face bloodied, her beautiful ivory wedding gown stained black with gore. And this time, clutched tightly in her hands, were the shattered remains of a porcelain doll. Oh, God! The children! From the Journal of Dr. Henry West, Cambridge, 1866. What devilry is this? I have been sent to Cambridge on a wild goose chase by Arkham's magistrate. I cannot shake this dread feeling deep in my heart that something is terribly amiss.
Something amiss deep in your heart, huh? You don't say. Just letting our new licensed track breathe a little bit. This is Fire, Flood, and Plague by High on Fire. My second favorite licensed track in the game.
Nice one!
And what we have to do in this section is slaughter all these enemies, so that the blood flows into the heart, weighs it down so that we can destroy it. First phase is simple enough. Little pink guys, they love to start really dangerous encounters with little pink guys though. And indeed, next up is a pair of demon abhors. This happens to be a perfect opportunity to talk about another licensed track though. There it is now. The Berserker transformation music is actually pounding nails by the accused. They are very worthy of having their song played so many times in this game because they're a band that describes their sound as splattercore. Most of their songs are about a zombie who returns from the dead to kill sex offenders. Her name is Martha Splatterhead. Unfortunately, I kinda blew my necro load. Now I don't have really anything to kill this beast with. Let's ignore him for a second and grab this picture. Since we can't take a look at the nudity, let's instead meet Martha Splatterhead. Looks like the woman of Rick's dreams. Use my last bit of necro gauge, and then start breaking weapons on this fucker. Because we don't have much of a choice. And I whiffed another splatter smash. Problematic. I do feel kinda bad for the beast. I kinda feel like it's just lashing out because its intestines have become extestines. It's not very happy about that fact. So I've resolved to put it down humanely wherever possible. I'm gonna avoid that offensive splatter kill. And that was enough blood to finally sink the heart down to our level. Always do. And as I demonstrated at the start of this phase, one must use splatter moves to break down those columns. Anything else just won't cut it. And touching them hurts you, much like the radioactive zombies. So we're gonna have to grind some necro. In the meantime, this is our meat shot move. That costs 1,200 bloods. It's really wreaking havoc on the ghasts, but it doesn't generate very much necro. So I'm just not going to use it very much. What I am going to use is tear you to pieces, because weapon moves generate extra necro. It's going to be the fastest way to victory here. And while I'm grinding for necro, talk a little more about the band High on Fire. They released an album called De Vermis Mysteriis. I'm probably butchering that. But it's a reference to a tome of forbidden knowledge that appears frequently in numerous horror novels, including several works by H.P. Lovecraft. Yet another whiffed splatter smash. Fortunately, we've almost got enough necro for the final one. There we go. Have a heart, Rick.
"6 o'clock. Too exhausted to sleep. The sun rises, today as every other. Yet something has forever changed. I feel not its warm embrace. I cannot yet make sense of this madness. I write this account of last night, only to convince myself of its irrevocable outcome. My heart is dead. Lenora is no more.
The house is dying. Portal! I can't stop it!
And another portal gives this level perfect symmetry. See you next time for way, way more portals.